Vamos lá então, hein? O time mais dominante, o time mais overpowered de todos os tempos. Vídeo do canal Nonstop, bora aqui reagir. Lembrando que o link do vídeo original e o link do canal Nonstop, os dois links estarão aí na descrição pra vocês, fechou? Vamos lá, bora assistir.
For 2 decades, it was universally accepted that the 1996 Bulls were the greatest NBA team of all time.
Pra muitos é até hoje, né? Pra muitos, o Bulls de 96 ainda é o melhor e maior time da história da NBA, né? Muita gente ainda tem essa opinião. Eu tenho uma opinião diferente. Vamos ver se o Nonstop tem a mesma opinião que eu.
But then
Eles têm a mesma opinião que eu. Eles também devem achar o Warriors de 2017 o melhor time da história da NBA. E eu concordo. Concordo.
2017 Warriors entered the chat. A team that had just won 73 games added Kevin Durant.
Só uma doideira, né, mano? Os caras bateram o recorde do Bulls de vitórias em temporada regular. Foram absurdamente dominantes, beleza. Tomaram a maior virada da história das finais, ok. Mas ainda era o melhor time da NBA. E aí, no off-season seguinte, os caras trazem simplesmente o Kevin Durant. Surreal, né? Surreal isso ter acontecido.
With 2 league MVPs, a Defensive Player of the Year, and the best two-way shooting guard in the game, the Warriors obliterated every team in the NBA, setting the best...
Não, e um treinador absurdo. Steve Kerr, na época, já era um treinador fantástico.
playoff record in NBA history. But did Kevin Durant's titles with Golden State certify his place among the top 10 players ever? And
Não é um dos 10 maiores da história. E nós já falamos sobre isso aqui, hein? Inclusive durante um react de um vídeo do Nonstop. O Durant não é um dos 10 maiores da história.
Are the 2017 Warriors really the best team of all time?
Aí eu concordo.
Obviously, we will never know, but you put us on paper with them, I like our chances.
In the last 10 years, it's not difficult to say who is the best organization in the NBA. From the
Fácil.
team owner to the cleaning lady, there is no better organized franchise than the Golden State Warriors. In 2023, the Warriors were worth $7.7 billion, twice as much as the average NBA franchise. Other than the Dallas Cowboys, the Warriors are the most valuable sports franchise in the world. And
O Dallas Cowboys é sacanagem. Apesar de não ganhar nada desde os anos 90, né? O Cowboys é brincadeira. Valioso pra caramba. O Jerry Jones é um gênio, né, do marketing, das finanças. Mas em termos de montagem de elenco é sacanagem. Pô, brincadeira o Dallas Cowboys.
And if someone predicted this back in 2010, you'd call them insane. Back then, the Warriors were almost a laughingstock, a fun little squad that rarely made the playoffs, and the 4th best team in California. Until Joe Lacob bought the team for $450 million.
Aí o Joe Lacob, ele mudou a parada, né? Bizarro, cara. O Golden State não era nada, mano, até ele comprar. Não era nada. Todo respeito, mas não era nada. Pô, ninguém gostava do Golden State. Era um time totalmente sem carisma. Totalmente sem carisma. Só que isso é muito louco, né? O efeito que os títulos, que as vitórias têm, né? A partir do momento que o Golden State começou a vencer, e do jeito que vencia, né? Pô, um basquete revolucionário, chuva de bolas de 3, né? Pô, todo o carisma do Curry e tal. A partir do momento que isso começou a acontecer, todo mundo começou a gostar do Golden State. Até o uniforme do Warriors, que era meio sem graça, começou a virar um uniforme legal, né? Começou a virar um uniforme legal. Então é muito louco, né? O efeito que as vitórias têm num time. Por exemplo, o Kings, agora que começou a vencer, começou a voltar pro playoff, cara, virou um time carismático pra caramba. Virou um time maneiro, né? Virou um time legal. Até o Kings voltar pro playoff, ninguém curtia tanto o Kings. A torcida do Kings, que hoje é vista como uma das mais legais da NBA, uma das mais maneiras e tudo, cara, ninguém falava da torcida do Kings, ninguém elogiava a torcida do Kings. Então, Não tem como, cara. Pra você ser um time atrativo, pra você ser uma franquia atrativa, você tem que vencer, mano. Você tem que ganhar. Não tem como. Não tem como.
And everything changed. Lacob immediately started making big moves, firing legendary coach Don Nelson, trading then Dub's best player and crowd favorite Monte Ellis, and
Mas quase trocou o Curry, né? Tinha essa dúvida se ficava com o Monta Ellis ou se ficava com o Curry. Ainda bem que eles ficaram com o Curry.
hiring inexperienced Bob Myers
Gênio,
as
Bob
general
Myers.
manager. All
Gênio.
three moves were extremely unpopular with the Oakland fan base, but Lacob and Myers soon proved to be 3 steps ahead of everyone else when it came to building a winning
Os
team.
caras tinham um
If you look
plano.
up there, that is a very lonely flag. We want another one.
While the new GM did inherit the best shooter of all time, Myers immediately tied Steph to a team-friendly contract. He'd then go on to draft Klay Thompson, Harrison Barnes, and Draymond Green. In 2014, Myers hired Steve Kerr.
Aí foi o que mudou. A chegada do Steve Kerr foi o que mudou tudo, mano. Depois da aquisição do Joey Lacob, né? Teve 3 grandes pontos de virada, na minha visão, né? Pro Warriors virar o que virou. O Joey Lacob comprar o time, a chegada do Steve Kerr, mas antes o draft do Curry. Beleza. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, cruciais. Cruciais. Mas o draft do Curry foi, né? Muito, muito, muito crucial. Não existiria dinastia sem o Curry. Não existiria. Não existiria. De forma alguma. E até pelo carisma do Curry. Entendeu? Então, pra mim, esses foram os 3 grandes pontos de virada, assim, pro Golden State.
And brought in impactful vets like Andrew Bogut, Andre Iguodala, and Sean Livingston. In their first season under Coach Kerr, the Warriors ran circles around everybody with hectic pace and unbelievable shooting from
Mudou
their
a
star
NBA.
backcourt, doing
Mudou.
what seemed unimaginable just a few years ago, winning the 2015 NBA championship.
Boy, we did it. We did it. We did it at the beginning. So happy for you.
In 2016, the league didn't get the memo on how to catch up with the Warriors, and they set the new NBA record for wins in the regular season, with 73 wins and just 9 losses. NBA record for wins in the
Cartaz
regular
aqui, ó.
season, with
Ó,
73
com o Jordan chorando, muito pica.
wins and just 9 losses. However, burdened by chasing the record, the Dubs ran out of steam and were defeated in the 2016 finals. But this
Aí o velho quis fazer história, né? Aí é foda.
loss proved to be a blessing in disguise. Because they weren't crowned champions, and because of an enormous spike in salary cap thanks to a new NBA TV deal, the Warriors were able to sign Kevin Durant, universally recognized as the second best player on the planet. The whole world called KD a coward, a traitor, a snake, a cupcake, and God
Eu fui uma dessas pessoas. Eu seria esse cara aqui, ó. Quando o Durant foi pro Warriors, eu era esse cara aqui, ó. Eu era esse gordão aqui, ó. Eu era esse cara. Muito pica. Pô, fiquei revoltado na época, mano. Fiquei revoltado, tá maluco.
God knows what else.
Ainda bem que eu não tinha canal na época, porque os absurdos que eu ia falar, pô, sacanagem.
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar. Plain and simple. That's just how I look at it.
But the truth was that KD needed the Warriors, and the Warriors needed him.
Essa aspa é forte. O Durant precisava do Warriors pra ser campeão. Isso é um fato. Agora, o Warriors precisava do Kevin Durant? Eu acho que não precisava, não. Mas, enfim.
When the 2017 season started, the Warriors were virtually unbeatable, cruising through the season without any problems. KD was incorporated seamlessly into the Warriors' offense.
O
and
encaixe
Kerr
foi
didn't have to
perfeito.
find weird strategies for their 4 stars to share the ball. KD played the most unselfish basketball of his career because, for the first time ever, he didn't have to score a single point, and his team could still win the game. Golden State won 67 games, with the highest offensive rating in NBA history, second best defense in the league, and the third best net rating in NBA history.
É que a galera, né, isso é muito louco, né? A galera às vezes esquece o quão dominante na defesa esse Warriors foi. É que a galera foca muito na parte ofensiva, que realmente era absurdo. Era absurdo. O ataque desse Golden State era uma coisa bizarra. Mas a defesa desse Warriors era uma coisa de insana. Insana. O Kevin Durant, defensivamente, foi surreal no Golden State. Surreal, mano. Esse Warriors era perfeito, mano. Esse time era perfeito. O de 2017 era impecável. Não tinha um defeito. Não tinha um defeito. Era perfeito.
It seemed like the Warriors turned on the PlayStation, entered a cheat code, and played the entire season in God mode. They made it through the playoffs without losing a single game, sweeping all 3 of their series in the West. And then, in the finals, a familiar opponent awaited, LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The defending champs had been uber dominant themselves, losing just 1 playoff game on their road to the finals. But unlike the 2015 and 2016 finals, where LeBron was by far the best player on the court, the Warriors had the perfect antidote to King James, KD. Not only did Durant bring in an offensive dimension to the Warriors that they didn't have before, but he also brought a defensive presence.
Nossa, ele defendeu muito nesse
mobility as a
playoff.
mere 7-footer made it difficult for James to drive to the basket at will. In the first 2 games, the Warriors obliterated the Cavs. Turnovers created unsolvable problems for Cleveland as they gave up numerous easy points to the Warriors' insane pace.
Não, e dar contra-ataque pra esse Warriors era pedir pra tomar ponto, né? Pô, contra-ataque com Curry, Durant, Klay Thompson, cara, surreal, mano.
But even when all 5 Cavs managed to get on defense on time, they were murdered with the Durant-Curry pick and roll. The Cavs had a potent offense, but the Dubs' ability to knock down 3-pointers in succession hit Cleveland like an avalanche. In all 77 years of NBA history, there wasn't a team that could switch on the turbo quite like that and increase a 2-point lead to 20-plus in 3 minutes.
Surreal.
However, when the series returned to Cleveland for Game 3, the Cavs looked much better, and their offense kept them in the lead for much of the game. It seemed like LeBron and company would win the game and keep the series alive. But then, in the final minute, KD launched one of the most cold-blooded shots in NBA Finals history.
Pô.
Durant for 3. It's good. Kevin Durant from downtown, and Golden State takes the lead.
Cleveland still had a chance to win it, but suddenly, they couldn't buy a bucket, and they didn't score a single point in the final 3 minutes. The Warriors won the game, snatching...
Tyronn Lue,
And they did-
pô, perdidinho no pagode,
didn't
né?
score
Ó,
a single point in the final 3
ó,
minutes.
perdidinho no pagode, o Tyronn Lue.
The Warriors won the game, snatching a 3-0 series lead. Then, the Cavs somehow managed to win Game 4, in what was arguably the best offensive game ever in the finals, hitting 24 threes, an NBA playoff record. But it was clear to everybody that they couldn't sustain that kind of shooting and win the ring against these Warriors. In Game 5, Golden State finished the job, finishing the playoffs with 16 wins and only 1 loss.
Nossa, bizarro, né? 16 vitórias e 1 derrota, mano. Nossa, mano. Isso é, assim, mano, é uma parada que talvez a gente nunca mais veja, mano. Nem o Celtics, que foi absurdamente dominante na temporada passada, meteu um 16-1 nos playoffs, mano. Nem o Celtics. Nem o Denver meteu um 16-1. Entendeu? Cara, assim, quem viu esse Warriors viu, pra mim, o melhor time da história. Pra mim, é o melhor time da história da NBA. Nunca vi, assim, eu respeito muito o Bulls da década de 90, o Bulls de 96, respeito muito. Mas esse Golden State de 2017 foi a maior força que a NBA já viu, na minha opinião. Na minha opinião.
Which was the best postseason run in NBA history.
There it is. Redemption for Golden State. One of the great playoff runs of all time is complete.
KD finally won that first title that had eluded him for so long. He averaged an unreal 35.2
Nossa,
points,
jogou muito,
8.6 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 1 steal, and 1.6 blocks per game, while shooting 56% from the field, 47% from three,
Olha isso,
and
cara.
93%
Olha os números do desgraçado. Vai se ferrar. Vai se ferrar.
on free throws.
Mas ainda assim, eu acho que o Warriors não precisava dele pra ser campeão. Eu acho que mesmo sem ele, o Warriors poderia ter sido campeão naquele ano. Não seria tão dominante como foi, porque, pô, a presença do Durant fez o Warriors virar essa estrela da morte. Mas eu acho que o Warriors não precisava dele. Mas óbvio que ter ele facilitou muito as coisas. Ainda mais tendo ele motivado, porque o Durant tava com sangue nos olhos nessa temporada. Tava todo mundo xingando ele, todo mundo chamando ele de covarde. E ele queria se provar, mano. E assim, foi surreal o nível de basquete que o Durant apresentou. Foi o melhor Kevin Durant que já vimos. O melhor Kevin Durant. Se bem que o de 2018 também foi uma coisa impressionante, mas eu fico com o de 2017.
It was one of the best finals performances of all time. And, of course, KD won the finals MVP. And yet, despite Durant's and Golden State's greatness, the basketball world wasn't impressed.
A lot of people enjoyed seeing y'all lose in 2016. And a lot of those people were upset that we were so good. And they're still upset.
When KD joined the Warriors, it was kind of expected that they should win.
É porque a galera teve a visão de que, os apelões aí, não sabem brincar. Lógico, com esse time, beleza. Com esse time, óbvio que ia ganhar. Nada demais. A galera tinha essa visão, né?
And their championship looked too easy. They had 2 MVPs on their team, a reigning Defensive Player of the Year and Klay Thompson, the best two-way shooting guard in the NBA. All of them were an average age of 27, which is considered a prime for basketball players. Add Iguodala, Sean Livingston, David West, JaVale McGee, and Zaza Pachulia,
E o Steve Kerr no comando.
all playing phenomenal basketball off the bench, and then you have an absolute juggernaut. Their offense had so many systematic solutions and so much talent that defenses had to pick their poison. Either give up a wide-open dunk or let 3 of the best shooters
Cara, era um inferno enfrentar esse time, mano. Eu já falei aqui no canal, né? Era aterrorizante enfrentar esse Golden State. Você tinha certeza que seu time ia perder. Se seu time ganhasse, você ficava aliviado. Era uma surpresa o seu time ganhar. Assim, a experiência de você assistir um jogo do seu time torcendo pra surpresa acontecer, pra uma zebra acontecer, era horrível, mano. Era muito ruim. Era muito ruim jogar contra o Warriors. Assim, você torcer contra esse Warriors era um saco. Era um saco, mano. Nossa senhora, que experiência horrorosa.
ever have an open shot. Golden State's defense was mobile and super connected. They created a lot of turnovers and killed opponents in transition. Sure, they didn't have a dominant post scorer, and if they faced a top talent on the low block like Prime Shaq, that would certainly give them problems. But given the style of play and the state of the league in 2017, those were minimal flaws. However,
cara, se eles enfrentassem um pivô dominante, sabe o que eles iam fazer? Iam tirar esse pivô do garrafão. Iam tirar esse pivô do garrafão. Seria isso que eles iriam fazer, tá ligado? Entendeu? Então, eu sinceramente, eu não consigo ver nenhum time na história da NBA. E óbvio, é um exercício de imaginação. A gente nunca vai ter a prova disso. Mas eu não consigo ver nenhum time ganhando desse Warriors numa série de 7 jogos. Esse Warriors de 2017, eu não vejo nenhum time na história vencendo. Não vejo.
it's one thing to dominate, and it's a whole different ballgame to become a dynasty.
We know how tough it's going to be. We know how hard it is to be the best team in the league. I think we're all ready for that challenge.
And in 2018, this unbelievable Warriors team had a tougher road than anyone expected. They won 58 games in the regular season. Their defense dropped out of the top 10 best in the league, and overall, they didn't look as smooth and connected.
Não, teve uma pequena ressaca pós-título. Teve uma pequena ressaca. Isso é verdade.
As they did the year before. Injuries played their part. But still, the Dubs had so much talent that they easily won the first round against the Spurs, despite Curry not playing. In the second round, Steph returned, and they defeated the Pelicans in 5 games, securing a matchup that every NBA fan hoped for. A clash with the #1 seeded Rockets and
Houston que foi montado pra vencer o Warriors, né? Foi montado pra isso.
the league MVP, James Harden. The Rockets
O Prime Harden.
built their whole roster
Imparável.
to be able to match up with the Warriors. And suddenly, Golden State's players looked mortal again. Houston pushed the Warriors out of their comfort zone by slowing down the pace as much as possible, with an average possession lasting 18 seconds. They also attacked the Warriors one-on-one to avoid double teams, and they killed the Dubs on the glass with their offensive rebounding. But whenever Kerr had faced a deficit in any game, he simply used the death lineup, which no team had an answer for, except for Houston. With PJ Tucker at center and long defenders at the wings, the Rockets neutralized the best 5-man lineup in NBA history with their own version of small ball. With dominant switch defenses, the Rockets shut down Golden State's motion offense and forced them to attack.
Esse Warriors foi o que mais... Esse Houston, perdão. Foi o que mais chegou perto, né? De vencer esse Warriors. Mas mesmo assim não conseguiu.
Through isolations, which put Splash Brothers in discomfort for much of the series. After 5 games, the Rockets had a 3-2 lead, and it seemed like the Warriors' dynasty was in serious jeopardy.
Essa bola do Chris Paul foi absurda.
Except in the final moments of Game 5, Chris Paul got hurt and was ruled out for the series. Game 6 was a blowout with the Warriors winning by 29, and everybody expected the same result in Game 7. And yet, the Rockets started the deciding game playing out of their minds. Houston had an 11-point lead at the half, and it looked like David could somehow beat Goliath. But then
Mas
the Warriors hit that turbo button again and hit a series of threes to turn the game around. The game was still close until the end, but then the Rockets missed 27
isso é absurdo. Erraram 27 arremessos seguidos, mano.
threes in a row, and it was all over.
Surreal,
The Dubs made
surreal,
another
surreal.
final, and for the 4th straight year, they faced LeBron and the Cavs. But this time, King James was without Kyrie, and it was a miracle that he even made the finals because it looked like he was playing with some bystanders that he picked up on the street on his way to the arena.
Meio que era isso mesmo, né? Era o LeBron jogando com a galera, né? Era LeBron e uma galerinha ali que ele achou pra jogar com ele. Era meio que isso mesmo.
However, in Game 1, LeBron proved that he is one of the GOATs by scoring 51 points.
Nossa.
Curry gets inside and throws it down.
Only for J.R. Smith to forget the score of the game in the final moments
Pô, o cara esqueceu o placar, mano. Vai se ferrar.
and pass up a potential game-winning shot.
I look at Bron like pointing like this. Oh, is he pointing at? I look over. Oh man! And then after that, it was just like, I know this shit ain't just happened. Not in the finals.
After that, it was all over, and the Warriors' next title was a walk in the park as they swept the Cavs. The only close game was Game 3, which was again clinched by a Kevin Durant deep three from virtually the
Delivers,
same
né?
spot as the year before.
Delivers!
Kevin Durant way outside. Delivers! Kevin Durant from downtown.
Iconic.
It's a 6-point game.
With 29 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, and over 2 blocks per game, and 50, 40, 90 shooting splits, Durant deservedly won another Finals MVP.
It's incredible. It's good for you to be around guys like this. It helps you become a better basketball player and a better man. And it's a journey that's better than a destination. You know, I'm happy I'm a part of this group.
But after the finals, a familiar feeling was felt. Nobody was impressed. Everybody expected the Warriors to win again.
É, o sentimento de, deu óbvio, né?
And in 2019, this feeling started to creep into the Warriors themselves. They seemed to be just going through the motions. And for the first time in the Kerr era, the Dubs started to have chemistry problems. In a close game against the Clippers, Draymond took the ball and
O
refused to
início do fim.
pass it to KD, messing up the play completely and losing the game. Instead of saying, "My bad," Draymond went berserk, cussing out Durant and telling him that he could leave the team. Durant was in his contract year, and he wasn't entirely happy in Golden State anymore.
Communication is key. Like we didn't show that, and that's what rubbed me the wrong way more than anything.
After this incident, Draymond
É,
got
faltou a famosa gestão de vestiário, né? O Steve Kerr errou aí, né? Faltou ele trazer o time, né? Juntar o time de novo. O Steve Kerr só deixou os caras se resolverem, né? E às vezes o treinador tem que entrar no meio. Né? E o Steve Kerr não fez isso. O Steve Kerr acreditou que os caras iriam se resolver por conta própria e não se resolveram, né, mano?
got suspended by the team, but their chemistry issues were never solved.
They told me right then and there, like, we're going to suspend you for this game. I laughed in their face, literally laughed in their face.
However, Golden State was still the NBA royalty, with more talent than any other team. Still, their infamous motion offense got more stagnant, and Durant didn't buy into the team concept as much as before. Instead, he began playing like he did in OKC, using his other
Aí ele se perdeu, né, mano? Aí o Durant, ele se perdeu. Aí é o efeito dominó, né, mano? Aí tudo foi desmoronando. A partir do momento que a química do time vai pro caralho, acabou, mano. Aí acabou. E ainda mais num time com tantos egos. Pô, o ego do Durant, o ego do Green. É que o Curry, ele, apesar dele ter seu ego também, como todo mundo tem, que o Curry é um cara muito coletivo, pensa muito no time, mas assim, é muito ego pra administrar. E não tinha ninguém pra administrar isso. Aí tudo se perdeu.
worldly basketball talent to score in isolation. But because he was KD, it worked, and the Warriors were winning.
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am.
Essa frase é muito forte, né?
Y'all know who I am.
They got past the Rockets again, far easier than last time, despite losing Durant to injury after Game 5. KD wouldn't play a second of the conference finals, but the Dubs still swept Portland and got to the finals for the 5th consecutive year. But against the Raptors, which were led by Kawhi Leonard and were far more talented than any team the Dubs faced that year, the Warriors were in trouble, with Draymond completely losing faith in his shot and aging Iguodala and Livingston, and a thin bench. Golden State was suddenly lacking firepower. After 4 games, they were losing 3-1 and were on the brink of a loss. If they wanted to
E lembrando que esse Warriors de 19 tinha também o DeMarcus Cousins, né, que era considerado um dos melhores pivôs da NBA na época. Então, era um time que no papel era ainda mais dominante, só que em quadra não foi tão dominante assim. Só que, e o mais louco é isso, mesmo com todos os problemas de vestiário, problema de química e até uma certa desconexão de estilo de jogo mesmo, de plano de jogo e tudo, se esse Warriors não tivesse sofrido com tantas lesões, se Klay Thompson não tivesse machucado, se o Durant não tivesse machucado, provavelmente eles teriam ganhado mais um título, mesmo com todos esses problemas. Bizarro, né? Por isso que eu falo, mano, esse Warriors da dinastia, né, dessa primeira fase da dinastia, que teve o título de 22 também, que aí já foi sem Kevin Durant, e era um outro time. Apesar de ser o mesmo núcleo, era um time diferente. Mas esse Warriors desse período, da era Kevin Durant, era um nível de talento que, mano, não tinha como, mano. Mesmo com problema de vestiário, esse time era absurdo. Era absurdo, porque era muito talento junto, mano. Tá maluco?
To have any shot at another title, they desperately needed KD. So, despite still nursing the calf injury, Durant finally suited up.
First 4 games, the Raptors were dominant and lead 3-1. But all of a sudden, Golden State has a new addition. Kevin Durant will play.
And for the first quarter of Game 5, it looked like the Warriors were back. With Durant in the lineup, the Raptors couldn't throw all their defenders at Steph, and Golden State's offense was breathing again. Defensively, KD was a huge help too, and was one of the rare guys who could match up with Kawhi one-on-one. But the dream of defending the title lasted for 14 minutes. Early in the second quarter, Durant tried to drive by Serge Ibaka when he heard a pop and fell to the floor. His Achilles was gone, and he knew it immediately. The Warriors somehow won Game 5, but without Durant, and then also Klay Thompson, who tore his ACL in Game 6, their season was over, and the Raptors were the new NBA champs. But while
Mas deixando claro, esse Raptors era fantástico também, viu? Baita de um time. Era um baita de um time. Mas eu acho que realmente o Raptors não teria vencido se o Durant não tivesse machucado, se o Klay Thompson não tivesse machucado. Eu tenho essa opinião.
While it's true that Durant came to an already built team, a winning team, this series perfectly showed how important he was for the Warriors and how much they needed him to win championships. While many will discredit
Não vou ficar repetindo, mas eu realmente acho que o Warriors não precisava do Durant. Eu acho.
KD's legacy,
Acho que, por exemplo, vamos imaginar que o Klay Thompson não tivesse machucado. Será que o Warriors não teria ganhado do Toronto? Acho que dava pra ganhar, mano. É que perder Klay e Durant, aí é foda, aí ferrou mesmo. Aí são 2 jogadores cruciais. Mas acho que se tivesse pelo menos o Klay saudável, não sei, acho que dava pra ganhar.
legacy because he won his only 2 championships on Steph Curry's team, it was clear that Durant was the best Warriors player. KD was always considered a phenom because he was a 7-footer with the athleticism, ball handling, and shooting ability of a guard. He was always a scoring machine. But it was when he joined the Warriors that he became a complete player and one of the best to ever touch a basketball. When he played in Oakland, KD was in his athletic prime, packing 30 more pounds of muscle than when he got drafted, and about 10 pounds more than he has now. Because he's
não, sem dúvida. O melhor Kevin Durant foi o do Golden State. Isso é inquestionável.
To shed some weight after his Achilles injury to avoid getting injured again. While his basketball growth stagnated in OKC, when he got to the Warriors, Durant had added something new to his game each season. He became more comfortable moving without the ball in year 1, completely buying into...
E taticamente o Durant, ele evoluiu muito também no Golden State. A passagem dele pelo Warriors fez ele melhorar muito na parte mental do jogo também. Pelo menos é a percepção que eu tenho.
into the Warriors' motion offense with lots of screens and cuts. Durant became a phenomenal defender in year 2, averaging a career-high 1.8 blocks per game. In fact, before he got injured and missed the last 2 months of the regular season, he was in strong consideration for Defensive Player of the Year. And finally, he became a better playmaker in year 3, averaging a career-high 5.9 assists per game, which was more than Curry, who was the team's point guard. Durant's feel for the game had grown by leaps and bounds, and while he was known primarily as a scorer, a team could now run the whole offense through him as point forward, similar to LeBron. And just like LeBron perfected his game and made it complete in Miami, Durant did the same thing in Golden State. They were both ostracized because of their decisions, they both won 2 championships with their new teams, and ultimately, they both became the best.
A diferença é que o LeBron, quando foi pra Miami, ele foi pra montar um time apelão. Ele foi ali junto do Bosh e aí eles juntos montaram um time apelão. O Durant ele já foi pro melhor time da liga. Quando o LeBron foi pro Miami, o Miami não era o melhor time da liga. Já o Golden State já era o melhor time da NBA quando o Durant foi pra lá. Então tem essa diferença entre a ida do LeBron pra Miami e a ida do Durant pro Warriors. Tem essa pequena diferença.
Best players in the world. It's a bit of a shame that just when KD finally took that crown from LeBron, he got injured. If he
Não, em nenhum momento ele tirou a coroa do LeBron. Calma aí também. Esse vídeo, ele foi muito mais um vídeo sobre o Durant do que sobre o Golden State em si, né? Vocês também perceberam? Que a pegada foi muito mais falar o quanto que o Durant foi foda no Golden State do que sobre o Golden State em si. Claramente esse maluco é muito fã do Durant. Fã alucinado pelo Kevin Durant. Mas assim, a maioria das coisas que ele falou eu concordo. Só discordo desse ponto do Warriors precisar do Durant e essa aspa, o Durant tirou a coroa do LeBron. Em nenhum momento ele tirou a coroa do LeBron. Calma aí também.
If he stayed healthy, the Warriors would have probably defeated the Raptors, and KD would win 3 Finals MVP in a row, a feat achieved only by Michael Jordan and Shaq. The Warriors had weaknesses that could be exploited before Durant arrived, and he gave them an answer for everything.
Não, isso é verdade. Isso é verdade. Com o Durant, o Golden State virou É o que eu falo, o Durant, o Warriors não precisava do Durant, mas com o Durant, o Warriors virou um time imbatível. O Warriors era o melhor time da liga, era um time surrealmente forte, mas com o Durant virou um time imbatível. Imbatível.
He was everything we could have asked for. He represented us on the court, he represented us off the court.
In his 3 playoff runs with the Warriors, KD averaged 37.
Aí tá vendo? É claramente um vídeo sobre o Durant, não é sobre o Warriors esse vídeo. Eu caí no bait do non-stop.
On 50-40-90 shooting while playing great defense. Durant was the one who coined the term unicorn when talking about Kristaps Porzingis, meaning that he's a 7-footer who can do everything on the floor. But it is still Durant himself who is the best unicorn in basketball history. And while many will criticize the Warriors for adding Durant to a team that won 73 games the year before, it's undeniable that this group was one of the best teams of all time, along with the Bulls in '96, the Celtics in '86, and the Lakers in '01. And for more content on all things NBA...
Bom, enfim, pra mim, Warriors de 17 é o melhor time de todos os tempos. Eu já falei isso várias vezes, e apesar de muita gente falar que eu tô maluco, que o Bulls de 96 era melhor, pra mim, o Warriors de 17 é o melhor time de todos os tempos. E aí eu quero que você comenta aí, concorda? Qual que é o melhor time da história da NBA na sua opinião? É o Bulls de 96? É o Warriors de 17? Manda aí nos comentários. E comenta aí se você acha que o Warriors precisava do Kevin Durant para ser campeão. Comenta aí sua opinião sobre isso. Eu acho que vai dar uma discussão legal também. Enfim, tamo junto, grande abraço e até a próxima, turma. Tchau!